Hello, guys. If you can hear me, please type. Give me a thumbs up in the comment section. Good evening. Good evening, Jeremiah. If you can hear me, give me a thumbs up. Give me a hello, hi, comment sections. We're just going to get started soon. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Pretty. Thank you, Julie. Angela, thank you. Hi, Pretty. Good evening. Tough, good evening. Stanley, good evening. Good evening, Chamaka. Good evening, Angela. Okay, okay. I think it's fine now, Angela. Good evening. Yeah. We're just going to get started, really. But again, I have about 10 people on the call. I'll give a 5 minutes bucket and we can, I'll give a 5 minutes bucket and we can get started. Okay. Vincent. Yeah. I'm waiting the applicant. Starting in the next 2 minutes. I'll send the official email. I'll send it again. I know a lot of people have been asking for that email, so we'll get to that point, right? That's part of what we'll be doing this evening. So relax. I've been getting a lot of. Yes, I'll share the email here. Why not? As much as maybe I should just go ahead and share it. Give me a second. Let me pick that email up and yeah. That's the email. Sorry, there's a little bit of error there. Hold on. Okay, make do with this. Brilliantheartconsults at gmail.com. That's what it is. Brilliantheartconsult at gmail.com. Sorry, I'm just going to confirm that. So if you have your laptops there, just open your email because we'll be making do with that to access Google Drive and all of that. So three things that you're going to open right now. Open your Excel worksheets. Open your Google. Open your email. Open your Excel and open your email if you're using a laptop. Open your Excel and open your Google Sheets. Did I say Google Sheets? Open your Excel and open your email. Just open your email and open your Excel workbook. Okay, so this is 8 minutes after 5, and we're just going to get started. Or and or, okay, so guys, I think that we can start. Okay, if you're ready, just give me a thumbs up or give me a yes, and so that I confirm that your way. Everybody is with me, and then we can get started immediately. Okay, okay, Vincent, if you can hear me, put a call on the group so that people can know that we have started. I know a lot of people are still probably online and all of the or offline and all of that. So put a call across. Okay, so we can start. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this session. Really, I mean, it's been a long awaited section, really, and we've really been waiting for it, and it's here now. So we're going to look at basically what we are considering today is um, I know you're going to pardon me the fact that I'm not looking so much on my screen. That's because I also have the live session open on another laptop. So I need to also see the communication that is going on there. And just in case anybody is calling my attention. So most of the time you see me looking at the other screen just to be, I'm using that to check on comments and all of that. So we get started already. Then good evening and welcome to the basics and fundamentals of data analytics, as it were. So, I mean, we're just going to get started with Excel, which is like the basics of data analytics, right? So, everything about data analytics is literally almost centered around Excel and Google Sheets. Like I said, these two, softwares are used basically um, for data analytics. So we use it to, basically it's for data analytics, as it were. And every other software, like the SQL is a database where data is being stored, and how we can access that data is by using Excel and Google Sheets to access it, and then we use Excel to do the analysis, and then we use Power BI and Google Studio to publish what the result is like. So it is all necessary that we start with Excel, and some of the critical things that we're going to be looking at this evening is the Excel and Google Sheets, as it were. And we are also going to be looking at the work, what everything about Excel. What does it entail? What are workbooks? What it will take to, what does it take to, clean up an Excel? We look at the Excel interface and a lot more. So we're just going to get started already. If you're using your laptop or you're using your phone, if your laptop is open, give me a thumbs up because we're going to get started already. If you're using your laptop, go back to your desktop. Go back to your desktop. If you've done that, just give. I want this class. I want this to be more of a practical session than I want to do less of talking and more of practical, as it were. So we're going to get practical immediately. So if you're using your desktop, go back to your. If you're using a laptop or a desktop, go back to your desktop. If you look at my laptop, I'm back. This is my desktop, really, right? You can see my mouse moving on my desktop. So I'm on my desktop right now, right? So go back to your desktop. Okay. If you've done that, give me a thumbs up, really, and this is like, so that I can proceed. I want to make sure that everybody is moving with me. I don't want to be moving too fast. Exactly. So again, Excel is a software, right? And it's been installed. I don't know. Again, I don't know if I have if you think that if you have issues with, if you don't, maybe you can give me a hi or something. Or for those who have Excel, go back to your desktop. I'm going to start from how to launch Excel, right? So if it's my laptop and I just logged into my laptop right now, how do I access Excel? I know a lot of people have issues with that. So what I'm going to do is down here, if you come down here, um, and click on the search bar, as it were, right? You type Excel on the search bar. So if I type Excel on the search bar, right? If you type Excel on the search bar, you're going to see it at the top of, you know, at the top of this ribbon, you're going to see Excel there. You're going to click it and open it, right? So now that Excel is open, there are a lot of tabs here. There is this blank worksheet. There is the welcome to Excel. There's a formula tutorial and all of that. You don't need all of that. What you need is the blank workbook, right? Except in the event that you've already worked on an Excel and you probably have some work, you probably have something saved, like I have here, right? So you can click on it. But basically, what you're going to click on is the blank workbook. That's what you're going to be working on. Forget all of this. What you're seeing here is just a sample, right? To show you how Excel can look like, right? They're trying to give you, show you what makes Excel very interesting. Do you understand? So that is already work done. It's just a sample to say that, okay, we would like you to make your report this way. That's what they're doing there. So you click on the blank workbook and open the Excel. Great. So if you've opened this, give me a thumbs up, give me a hi if you're with me, especially if you're using your laptop. If you're using your phone and you think that you understand what I just did, give me a thumbs up and all of that. I just need to know that you guys are following, you know. Yes, yes, yes. If you're on Google Sheets, yeah, you can use Google Sheets. I'll go back to Google Sheets, right? But I want to start with Excel because a lot of people understand and use Excel and all of that. It's not everybody that uses Google Sheets. But if you understand Excel very well, you already know Google Sheets. Do you understand that? There are just a few things on Google Sheets that are not on Excel, especially as it has to do with automations. The difference between Excel and Google Sheets. So I need to clarify that Excel is an offline app. Google Sheets is an online app. Do you understand? So you can use Excel when you don't have network on your laptop, right? But you cannot use Google Sheets if you don't have network on your laptop. So Google Sheets is for offline. Excel is for online. That's the difference. There is no big difference about it. It's just that, in terms of when you're automating systems, I usually would prefer Google Sheets because of the fact that it is an online app. It moves in a certain way. Do you understand? Like, you can easily automate systems. You can easily automate your system with Google Sheets because it is online. It updates you know as it goes. As much as you have network, you don't have to start refreshing. But on Excel, if you built an automation, right, and you probably want to update it, you're going to have to start refreshing it for the data to update. And if you're working for a big organization, right, many big organizations will always prefer using Google Sheets because for you as a data analyst, you should also prefer using Google Sheet because it will help you to set up some kind of automations that you don't necessarily have to come back again. You can set up an automation and leave it to run for months, right? And you don't have to come back every morning and start refreshing and refreshing and refreshing. It's tiring. Do you get? So as much as we are learning Excel, we're going to prioritize Google Sheets. If you watch my YouTube videos, you realize that I do more of Google Sheets than Excel. All my YouTube videos are on Google Sheets. So we're going to prioritize Google Sheets as much as we're going to learn Excel because a lot of companies use Excel. A lot of these old companies, I call them old companies because I mean, it's not everybody that likes the stress of going to email, opening Google Drive, and then accessing Google Sheets. Is a lot, right? So, I mean, that's the difference between Excel and Google Sheets. So, as much as we can prioritize Google Sheets over Excel, but we're going to Excel is the basics. If you don't understand Excel, you're going to get lost when we get to Google Sheet because that side is more of an automation sheet, right? So, yeah, if you get my explanation, I mean, just give me a thumbs up there. Don't try now. Okay, so we are here. This is Excel, as it were. For some of you who are not familiar with Excel, this is the Excel interface, right? This is the Excel interface, as it were. There's nothing really, and I'm just going to do a few explanations on the interface, and then we can get started really good. Okay, okay. So so we're going to consider a few things. Sorry, I just took it down by mistake. The first thing we're going to consider here is the fact that this interface that you're seeing, as it were, right, is called a workbook. This whole thing that you are seeing here, I know if you look at it and see the lines, I will explain the lines, I will explain all of this just so that you understand properly. So everything you're seeing here is called workbook. You need to pay attention because at the end of this class, I'm going to give an assignment and I expect people to, that's why I will reshare the email again so that I can get feedbacks on my email. So, but again, I didn't just to also add that all the assignments will be done on Google Sheets. So I don't mind. You can do it on Excel, or you're going to have to export it to Google Sheets. That is where I can access you and all. But of course, as much as we are learning Excel, we'll go to Google Sheets and then I can explain some of the interface and how to navigate your way around it. But most of the assignments will be done on Google Sheets so that I can access you directly from the company's email and see what you're doing. Do you understand? And remember, guys, this is not so much of an official whatever. My DM is open, the emails are there. let's interact. Let's, I want to be as simple as possible, just so that everybody, because my goal here is not to rush everybody. And even if we have to extend beyond the 2 weeks, I want to make sure that everybody gets value from what we are doing here. Do you understand? So my goal is to make sure that you get value from this thing. It's not just that we are going live, right? Okay, having said that, let's get back to it. So, what you see here, this whole interface is called a workbook. Everything here is called a work. This is a workbook, right? And everything that you see on top of the workbook, right, is like, so imagine a mechanic, right, that has a workshop. Do you get? So, I mean, and then a car eventually gets bad, and then they take it to the workshop, and then the mechanic says, "Okay, what?" And they say, "What's wrong?" And then the mechanic says, "Okay." They says, "Okay, it's tire issue, right?" And then the mechanic does not even have the spanners, the all of that to work on the tire. Imagine a scenario like that. So this everything you see here is like your tools, your working tools, right? This is a toolbar, as it were. It looks complicated, but it's very simple. It's everything that you need to work, right? The home tab here contains a lot of things. You want to bold your text, you want to, if you put, for those who are using Excel, if you are using Excel, if you are, how do I call it? If you're using your laptop, put your cursor on each of the, how do I call it, on the of the items. But you notice that every time, so if I put my cursor on the bill, you see that there's a note that is coming out there. It say bold control plus B. Make your text bold. Are you guys following? So if you're using your laptop, just do that and give me a feedback if you're seeing the same thing I'm seeing. So every time you put your cursor on any of these items, it returns a note to tell you what that item is used for. Do you understand? And also give you the shortcut key on how to, navigate your way around that item. So every item here is a support tool, to help you carry out your analysis properly. And your ability to do a proper analysis is dependent on how far you understand how to use all of these tools, right? Can you guys still hear me? If you can still hear me, let me, just do a thumbs up, do a hi or something. So just that I know that everybody is following, right? Okay, so every time I put my cursor on any of these labels, you see that it comes up. So if I put my cursor on the merge tab, it said combine and center the contents, of the selected cells in a new larger cells. So every item here is very, very critical for your analysis, right? So we have the inserts page, we have the draw, we have the page layout, right? We have the, just so that in case you want to do some level of formatting, you want to remove the rows and the columns and all of that. We have the formula bar. This one is very critical for us, right? You, I hope that everybody is following. Can I get a thumbs up or something just to be sure that I'm still on, everyone is with me. Since you're watching. Or do I need to return back to my page? Oh, okay, 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 okay. It's fine. Okay, so okay. I noticed that where I'm looking at from my comments laptop is not updating. So okay, it's fine. It's fine. Okay, well done, guys. Thank you. Okay. So you notice that every time I put my cursor on any of this, it comes up with a note. So if you have your laptop, do that, you see a note, and I'll explain why that is. So you see the formula tab, you see the data tab. This data tab is very, very important for us. As we go properly into the class, we're not going to be doing more. This week between now and Saturday, this class and next week on Saturday, the class we're going to have on Saturday, we're not going to use formulas. We're just going to run around all of these things that are on this tab, just so that we're going to play around it, just so that you understand. I mean, everything here is meant to help you build a proper, do proper analysis. So your ability to understand all of this is what gives you an edge, right? Is what makes you a good data analyst. So having said that, as it were, because this is our worksheet, we have this is because this is our workbook, we now have what we call worksheets, right? This is a workbook, right? But we have what we call worksheets. So inside the workbook, we have worksheets, right? So if this is sheet one, as it were, if you look at your Excel, you see a plus sign. So when you have sheet one down here on this ribbon, you see a plus sign here. If you click on the plus, you notice that another sheet, we open another sheet. If I click on the plus sign again, I will open another one. If I click on it again, I will open another one. It does not have it does not have an end, right? It just keeps going. Do you understand? So every time I click on it, it just keeps going. It just keeps going. So you can open as many sheets as possible. Mind you, this Excel itself is a workbook, but yes, all the classes will be recorded. So, but I mean, after this class, we are going to deliberate. All of us, we are going to take that decision whether we are going to have, a mini class like on a Thursday. But on that class, we are not going to use YouTube. We are going to use a Google Meet, and it's going to be limited. If you come late, you'll be locked out. So people can unmute, and I can see your faces. You can talk to me, and we can interact better. So again, but the Saturday class is going to be recorded. All our classes are going to be recorded, and they're going to be here on YouTube. So you can always visit here again and find them. So again, yeah, the session will be recorded. Nancy, it will be recorded. Do you get me? Maybe you can give me a thumbs up if you get me. So it will be recorded. It will be here on YouTube, so you can always watch any of the sessions. Do you get? Of these, each of these is so each so like I said, it just keeps going and going and going. You can open as many sheets as possible inside one workbook. So this is a workbook, but inside one workbook you can have many sheets. And why this is right is because in the events that you're making analysis, sometimes you might data in one sheet. You might have your data in multiple sheets. Do you get? It might require you to have, okay, maybe you have a set of data that has to do with a monthly sales trend, and then you have another side that speaks to weekly sales, have an answer that speaks to a daily sales trend, and you're required to mix that together. So every time instead of opening one Excel workbook and open another one and open another one, for proper data analytics, you're supposed to have all your data in one workbook. But however, inside that workbook, you have them on different sheets, just like I have it here, different sheets. So for example, if there was work done in January, I was going to come here. So if you come here, for those who are using laptop, go to the sheets one and double click on it. Right? If you double click on it, you notice that it is highlighted. So click your mouse. What I mean by double click is that you're going to click your mouse twice. So double click on it, highlight it. You see that I change it to, let's say this is my January, right? I click, then click on enter. If I go to the second workbook, I'm going to click on it again and say February, right? Enter. And I'm going to do that and double click on this one, March. So I can decide to name all my workbooks different names. So I can decide to now call this one my summary, right? And I can call this my dashboard, right? Okay. Somebody is complaining of not seeing clearly. Okay. If you cannot see clearly, put it on full screen. Whether you're using your phone, put it on full screen, right? Can you still see my screen? Guys, can you see my screen? Hello, guys. If you can still see my screen, give me a thumbs up. Like you can, like, is the Excel workbook open on my screen, or you? What are you seeing? Okay. Are you seeing the Excel workbook? I just want to be sure. Okay. Okay. So if you understand the concept of okay, great. Okay, okay, thank you. If you understand the concept of, the Excel worksheets, do a yes. Give me a yes. If you don't understand, if you want me to go back, let me know. Right? If you have, if you have questions, don't wait for me to finish. Give me the questions. If you have any concern, drop your concern. I'm looking at the chat, so I will reply you as we are going. I don't want to accumulate questions as we are moving. So that's the concept of the whole workbook and Excel, right? This is a workbook. Excel in itself is a workbook, but inside the workbook, we have different sheets. You can open as many sheets as possible, so that you don't have to open many workbooks. So, as a data analyst, it's not good to have many workbooks, right? It's good to have one workbook, and yeah, so it's good to have one workbook and many sheets, right? One workbook and many sheets. That is it for a data analyst. Another thing that we are going to be looking at is the rows. Okay, Stanley. Stanley says I should explain a little bit. Okay, so Stanley, I'm going to close all of this, and I'll get at it again one time, and I'm going to be as fast as I can, right? Okay, so great. So this is a workbook. So I'm just going to do a sharp one fast, and I'll close my Excel and I'll start again. So Excel, this is me now opening my Excel. I want to work, right? I click on the blank workbook as it were, right? So if I click on the blank workbook, great, my workbook is open. This is my Excel now. Excel is a workbook, right? My workbook is open and I'm ready to work, right? So, and because I have grace, so because I probably have different kinds of, let's say for the year, I have data for January, I have data for February, I have data for March, I have data for April, and I want to store it month by month. I don't want to put it together, right? I want to differentiate it into different months. Or if not monthly, maybe I have a yearly data for 2025 to that 2026. It must not be by year anyways. Maybe there are different companies. I want to store it by different companies. and I'll take names from the chat. I see Julie there. So let me see that I have data for Julie. So this is my first workbook now that I opened. I'll come and click on where I have sheet one down here. This place. So this place where I have sheet one, this place I have sheet one, right? I'll click on. So if you have not liked the page, just click on the like button, right? Click on the like button so that many other people can see that we are live. That's the reason for the like. So that people can see that we are live and they can join immediately, right? So please do go ahead and click the like button. And if you have not subscribed, click the subscribe button too, so that we can reach out to you know more people. More people can get notification and come online, right? So thank you. So where I have sheet one here, if I click on the sheet one, double click on it. So on your mouse, double click it twice. One, two, right? If I double click it, I'm going to name it. Who is there on the chat? I see Julie. So I'm going to name it Julie. So this is Julie's sheet, right? This is Julie's sheet. And I'll click on the plus sign again. Who is very active here? Nelson. And I'll call this sheet Nelson, right? I'll click on another one. That so you see the plus sign is just going. So I'll click on it again. And who is there again? I see Vincent. So I will name this one Vincent. Um, I see Jude, right? I see Jude. Yes, the class is being recorded, Jude. Yeah, we can play from beginning, but we've not gone far anyways. So I see who again is there? I see Carlo. So I'll name this sheet Carlo, right? And Stanley. I'll click on the plus sign and name this one Stanley. So let's say that I have different data for these five different people, right? If I was going to record that data, I'll come to Julie and record that data on Julie's sheet. If on Nelson, I'll put it on Nelson's sheet. If I have data for Vincent, I'll put it on Vincent's sheet. If I have data for Carlo, I'll do the same. And if I have data for Stanley, I'll do the same. Then I can now have the last sheets. I'll create another one that I will call summary, right? So you must always have a summary sheet, right? I'll create another that will have summary, and then I'll create the last one that I will call my dashboard. Do you guys understand? If you understand me, give me a thumbs up so that I can move on. If you still have issues, I will go back again because I want you to understand it. I don't mind staying on one thing until you get it. Because the idea is for you to understand it before we move, right? So the idea is for you to understand it. So give me a thumbs up if you understand everything about workbook and worksheets. Grace, Grace. Okay, okay. So that is what it is. So basically, what worksheet is all about is it is only it's being used to aid, you know, data difference. So if you have different types of data, right, you can store it in different sheets. Do you understand? But on the same workbook, what that will do is that it will yeah, that's to make sure that your data is not scattered. You don't have data in different. You have one workbook in a download folder. You have this one in a it's not going to be like that. If you open it, so for me, if I come to work in the morning, I just have to open one workbook. Inside that workbook contains everything I do in my company. Do you understand? So I don't have to start because it's a way of being efficient anyways. So it's very, very important. Mastering one worksheet and creating one workbook and creating different sheets inside the workbook, right? It's one of the things that makes you very effective because as much as one of the qualities of a data analyst is speed, is time actually. Do you get? I used to have this kind of feedback from my MD. My MD will always say, if you give this thing to Emmanuel, don't worry, give him five. She just knows me for delivering speed. If you give this thing to another person in the company, it can take something that can take somebody 3 days to work on. I can take 10 minutes to deal with it. 10 minutes. I don't need more than 10 minutes to deal with it, right? So what we are trying to also achieve is time. So time and accuracy, your data must be correct. It's not just that you are fast, but the data must be correct. That's why we're going to a lot of formulas and all of that to help you automate. That's why we're getting to system automations and all of that, just to be sure, just to make sure that you're always on track, you're not making mistakes. So that is it for workbook and worksheets. The next thing we're going to be looking at, look at this workbook. Sorry, I call it work. If you look at all of these sheets, we have what we call rows and columns. I think that a lot of people have not still liked, some people have not subscribed. Go ahead and do that. We need to reach more people. More people need to see that we are online so that they can join. Go ahead, go ahead. It's necessary. So if you look at the worksheets as it were, we have it in rows and columns. So if you look at you see that we have lines going down because some people are confused here. It's not like Microsoft Word where you have a plain sheet, as it were. So here you have rows going down, you have lines going down, you have the other ones coming to the left. You have, everywhere is just looking line, 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 line. And in your mind, you're wondering, how am I going to even start working? It's not the first time I encountered Excel. I was wondering, how am I even going to start? I mean, look at something is in line, 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 line. How am I even going to start working on it like this? Where am I going to type? Excel is one of the most interesting thing, I have seen. I can tell you, very very interesting. So again, what you see here, every line you see going down like this, right, is called column. These are columns. These spaces between one line. So when you see this line, the line between A and B is a column. The line between B and C is a column. The line between C and D is a column. So columns are arranged in alphabets, right? While rows are arranged in numbers. So here you notice that here you have A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, and it just keeps going. Do you get? I'll continue going. You see, it just keeps going. It just keeps going. It just keeps going. It just keeps going. And I'll just keep going, right? No end. If I get to an end, I will insert and I'll continue. So we have thousands of columns. You cannot exhaust it. Do you get? We have thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of columns. You cannot exhaust it. So everything you see going down here is a column. These are columns. The spacing here is what is called columns. The lines are used to differentiate the different alphabets. So A, B, C, D, E, F, it just keeps going. Then when we come to rows, we have them in numbers. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight. So it just keeps going. I mean, if I hold my control shift down, you see that I got to an end, for example. So this is like the end. Are you guys following? Please give me a thumbs up if you're following. Or if you're probably enjoying it, give me a laughing emoji. I need to see that people are, again. Um, Okay, so I need to see the comments. You notice that I've gotten to an here is like a dead end, right? It's not going again. So I can afford to add more. I mean, we've not gotten to that stage, but again, I can afford to add. I'll just click insert and continue. It just keeps going, right? If I don't want to click, sorry. Okay. Okay, but that's by the way. It just keeps going thousands upon thousands upon thousands. You cannot exhaust it. The idea that so what I'm trying to let you guys know is that it's inexhaustible. It just keeps going, right? It just keeps going. So you have a lot of rows and you have columns. So rows are defined in numbers. I'm taking my time to tell you all of these basics because you need it. Do you get? So rows are in numbers. So anytime you enter Excel and you see these numbers here, don't get confused, right? Every time you see these numbers here like this, it just tells you that these are rows. You remember how the other day, I was under pressure and I asked my colleague, I said, what is row? Because I was confused. Which of them is row? Is it like this or like this? And she gave me a very wonderful example. She told me when you go out now to go and enter taxi and you tell somebody shift, that is row. Taxi, when you enter taxi, is arranged in rows. Do you get? So she told me that as you're telling somebody to shift, it means that you're telling somebody to shift for you in a row. So that thing stuck in my head. So every time I enter Excel, I just, I start having that, how do I call it? I start having that keke vibes, right? Like, okay, these are rows and these are columns. So you need to really, really understand this, right? These are rows and these are columns. If you're getting it, tell me well done. If you have questions, I will entertain questions and I will continue moving. Tell me well done. I don't try to China. Great. It's difficult to teach Tindagati, especially when you already know advanced. It's difficult to now come down to this side and teach properly because we've gotten to a level where it's only formulas that we are now doing now. So coming back to teach Tindagati, most times it's usually very difficult. But I'm trying. I'm trying. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, let's move. Let's move. Let's move quickly. This 8:46 already. So let's move. Right. So um okay, just a quick checkup to say that rows, they run horizontally and columns run vertically. That's just the difference. And rows are in numbers and columns are in alphabets. Don't forget that. Rows are in numbers, columns are in alphabet. So every time you log into Excel, know that this is a column and this is a row. It's very critical, right? So the next thing we're going to talk about is a cell. What is a cell, right? I know some of you have an idea of what a cell is like, right? If you have an idea what a cell is, tell me what is a cell. Type it on the comment section there. Don't go and check Google. Oh. Somebody now go and go and search Google and come and do Vasabi. Uh-huh. What is a cell? CELL. What is a cell in Excel? One box that look like prison. Charles. Okay, that's the valid point. Charles says that Excel is one box that look like prison. Powerful. And it makes a lot of sense to me now. One box that look like prison is actually prison. For those that are in Calabar, it's like how do they call that prison in Calabar South? Those people that are from Calabar. There's one prison in Calabar South that is a reference. There's one bad prison. Where's that prison where they took Showore to? What's the name of that prison? Okay, Stanley says a cell is a combination of rows and columns. Powerful. The box you can type on. Great. A cell is the smallest building block in Excel. Great. Well done, sir. Carry on. Okay. Kuje. Charles, well done. So, I mean, all of that is valid. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Zone 6. Powerful. No, it's not zone 6. There's one in, how do I call it? In Calabar South. That particular one, if they take you there, just so that your life has finished. But I work with Kuje. So a cell is like Kuje. It's like Kuje prison. Do you understand? Because it's a box. It's like if I get in here, I can't come out again. Right? So I know some of you are still waiting for me to show you what a cell is. But from what every definition there, if you look at Charles's definition, he said one box that look like prison. So think of it, a box that look like prison. So if you look at this my Excel sheet now, the question is, how many boxes do you see on this my Excel sheet? If you're going to answer that, I need to, but how many boxes are you seeing on my Excel sheet here now that I'm working with? Tell me. Ah, which one is a spreadsheet package for financial purposes? Okay, Afokan. Thank you, Chiwike. Afokan prison. How many boxes do I have here on this my Excel sheet? It is a small block in the workbook. Yeah, Matthew, you're correct. Very correct. Uncountable. Yeah, Stanley. Uncountable. It's actually uncountable, right? Is actually uncountable. So you see that the way I'm clicking on here now, everywhere I click is actually called a cell, right? A cell is like African prison. A cell is like Kuje prison, right? A cell is a box. I'm just looking for something that makes it stick. For those who don't understand this, right? I want it to stick into your head that a cell is like a box. Total is about over 10,000. Okay. Charles, how did you get your answer? Is it a standard answer for how many cells are in Excel? Uncountable, sir. Multiple boxes. Uncountable. Well done. Well done. So, again, just so that I can move on, right? Well done, guys. Thank you for all the contributions. So, Excel is, think of it as a box, think of it as a prison, as an enclosement. But most importantly, a cell is a meeting point between a row and a column. So everywhere you see a row and a column meeting, that meeting point is called a cell, right? So do they arrest people and imprison them in the cell there? Yes, Stanley, they actually do arrest people and imprison them. So they arrest data, right? And that's what we are here to do this evening. We are here to learn how to arrest data. Do you understand? You can lock up and the cells and the columns. So, I mean, we'll get to that point. The cells are movable, columns are movable, but however, you can lock either of them so that they are unmovable. Do you understand? So you can. So what we are here to do this evening is to arrays data and lock it up. Do you get? And I'll show you how to do that. How to be a cell policeman. Great. So if you look at my worksheet here, you see that everywhere I click is actually a cell. The meeting point between the rows and the column. So if I'll do something like this now. I'll color here and then I'll color here. What you see here is a cross, right? And mind you, this is actually adjustable, right? Just so that I don't forget. The cells, the rows and the columns are adjustable. So for let's say that for column C now, I can decide to adjust it to any length and I'll color it. I can decide to adjust it to any length I want to adjust it. In due get, it does not have limits. For rows too, I can do the same thing. I can adjust my row 12, you know, to so how did I even do that? Some people are wondering how I did that. So if you have your laptop, put your cursor at the top of your page between the line between. So if I want to adjust for C now, the line between C and D, this line, if I put my cursor there, you notice that the cursor, every time I put my cursor on that line, it becomes a plus sign, right? It becomes a thin plus sign. I'm about to arrest Tinubu with her wife motivating her carousel and imprison them in the Excel. I beg imprison them. Oh. So they are infinite. Well done. So I can drag. So the line between the two rows and columns. Yeah, thank you, Ifeanyi. Okay, so I can actually adjust either of them, right? So, and I'll take out this. I'll take out this. That's by the way. So I have a plus sign here, right? So just for people who don't understand, let me also let me see if I can make justice to this. So you see this meeting point here, this center here like this now, right? I'm just using that for an example where I colored is a cell. Here is a cell. You see that I bolded it is a cell. So these four edges are cells. So everywhere the rows meet with the columns. It becomes a cell. Do you get? And everything about data analysis, data in Excel, I'm taking time to explain this because data is actually arranged in rows and columns. Do you understand that? Data is arranged in rows and columns. So, sorry. Okay. Data is arranged in rows and columns, right? You cannot arrange data, So what we're basically doing as a data analyst now, data from SQL or any of this app, many of the times they are on, right? So what Excel is helping you to do is to arrange the data in a row, is to arrange the data in rows and columns, right? So I think if you understand everything about this, I think I made justice to that anyways. But what I'm trying to say in the sense is that data is arranged in rows and columns. Don't forget that. Especially for those, I'm taking my time to explain this for those. I know there are people on this call, they are not on this call, and there are also people that have not even heard about Excel before in their entire life. So that's why I'm trying to be as simple as possible. For some other person, you might be fed up for the fact that I'm picking one thing and I remain there. I know what I'm doing. I want to be able to carry everybody along, right? So if you're an expert, we'll soon catch up with you. We will soon reach where you know Sabi again. So you too, you go follow, pay attention. So for now, like this time now that is entering, chatting anyhow, so he's like he's an expert. So he's waiting for us to catch up with him wherever he is. So we'll catch up with you, and you soon find out that Yusuf, while I did. Okay, thank you, thank you. Okay, so if you understand the concept of rows and columns, I explained that because data is actually arranged. When you start working with Excel, you're going to be arranging your data in rows and in columns. The next thing I'm going to be looking at is data type. I don't know, you just have to be taking notes. For those who are taking notes, you know, take notes, right? And I don't know if my Google whatever recorder is open on this meeting. I'll paste the minute of the session also on the group. So the next thing I want us to look at is the data type. What is data, as it were? There are about five classes of data, right? In Excel, there are text. So what do I mean by text, right? What do I mean by text? Sorry, I'm also looking at the chat. I told you guys I have another screen where I'm looking at what you guys are. I'm watching the communication. That's why you see I'm looking at both screens just to be sure that I'm yeah, exactly. Thank you. So we have about five classes of data in Excel, right? The first one is text. So in Excel now, you can type text, right? It can be a text, it can be number. So we have text, we have numbers, we have dates, we have currency, we have percentages, and then we have time. Do you understand? How many dimension? I think they're about how many dimension? They're about six. Yeah, text. So I will start with text. So if I come to this my worksheet now, and I'm going to take out this my column. Sorry. Yeah. Okay, great. Okay, I kind of bolding this so that you people can. Not true. Okay, so we have text. If you come to, there are six classes of data that you can type in an Excel workbook, right? In an Excel sheet, as it were. Six. One of them is a text, and we are going to do that immediately. So let's say, for example, now, we already established the fact that data is arranged in rows and in columns. So we are going to do that. So let's say, for example, we have sales for the year, right? We're going to go into practical now, a little bit of practical, so that you can be understanding what we're doing. So we have sales for the year, and we want to record it, right? We want to record it. So imagine that you have a small business. Let's say that you are selling kuli kuli, or you are frying akara, or yeah. Let's say that you are selling kuli kuli as a business. you know, and then you want to take, records of sales for each day and all of that. So what you can type on Excel is either you type it in text, or you type it in number, or you type it in currency, or you type it in dates, or you type it in time. Do you get? So either of these can be typed on Excel. Anything that is more than these things I've mentioned cannot come into Excel. And anything that is more than these things that I've mentioned is an unstructured data. For example, you cannot type an image on an Excel sheet, but meanwhile, you can insert it. You can insert an image, but you cannot. Do you get? So you can insert an image, but you cannot type an image. So everything that is not what I have called is not, how do I call it? Is not, cannot be used, cannot be inserted on an Excel. It can't fit into it. Do you get? So let's say that we have sales data. So if you have your laptop, turn it on. It is time to go practical now. I believe that you followed me all the way from sheets and all of that. So I'm going to take out all these my plenty sheets. So we're going to start building a system now. If you have a laptop, open it and let's start. So, let's start. The data that we are building now is also what we're going to use to continue until we finish the class, right? And we're going to build that data together, right? Great. So let's say that we are starting a kuli business. What's the first thing that I want to do on this my sheets for a kuli business? So I have one sheet here, and I say I want to sell kuli, and this is June. So there, where we have this Vincent, we initially named it. I'm going to rename it. So double click it. You can actually rename it. Double click it, and I'll type here June. We are in June. So for June, I want to start a kuli business. The first thing I want to do is that I want to be able to have a record of all my sales, regardless of, you know, the, regardless of every other thing that is going on, right? I want to have the record of all my sales. So what do I want to do in Excel? So here, if you look at the first line here, right? If you look at, call this, cell is smallest unit of a computer. Well done. Great. So, no, Vincent, that is not that kind of cell, my dear. This is the Excel cell. It's not laptop cell. Do you understand that? The cell is the smallest unit of a computer. I agree, but in Excel, it's not the smallest unit of a computer, right? It is where it is the meeting point between rows and columns. Just get that clear, right? So here on column A, so if you look here where I have my mouse, you notice that where I'm clicking now, if I highlight it, for example, let me click. Where you see this box where I'm clicking now, we have A here and we have 1 here. Do you get what this? And I'm going to bolding it. Let me bolding, and I'm going to bolding this. Let me put a, yeah, great. So if you put your cursor on the first cell by your left hand side up, if you're using a laptop, please do follow me, right? If I put my cursor here on the first cell, you see that I have A here and I have 1 here, right? So I'm going to speak to that when we get to cell reference. It is called cell reference. So where I have my, if I put, whose name is there? Jefta. If I put Jefta here, for example, right? Jefta is in column A, row 1. Do you get? If I put, who is there again? Julie here. If somebody is going to ask me, where is Julie on your sheets? I will say that Julie is in column A, row 2. Guys, do you understand me? If you're understanding me, please just give a thumbs up, just so that I, and if you don't understand me, let me know so that I can go again because we are beginning to do data structure now. We're beginning to put data together, right? Remember, we said that the role a cell is the meeting point between a row and a column, right? And inside that cell is where we are typing data. So your data is in cells. And I said that we should think of a cell as a prison. Do you get? So you are typing your data in a cell, and that cell is the meeting point between the row and the column. What that automatically means is that if I type whose name is there? Charles. If I type Charles's name here, so I have Charles, right? I have Charles. I have who? Who are those people that are constant? Okay, I have Stanley here, right? Great. Okay. So, for example, Stanley, do you want to tell me what row and what column is your name on my Excel sheet? I have Sunday, Kopona Sunday. Great. Sunday, I'm typing your name too. So everybody tell me, where is your name on my Excel sheet? What row and what column is your name? Juliet, what row and what column is your name? Because I just typed your name here. So I'm going to expand it just so that you not tell me that you're not seeing. So if I see your comment, I type your name. I see good news. Good news. Good news. Tell me where your name is. What row and what column is your name on my Excel sheets? I'm waiting. Sunday says row 1, column 5. Okay. So Sunday says his name is in row 1, column 5. Um, Juliet, column A, row 2. Column A, row 2. Uh, who else? Charles, row 3, column A. Row 3, column A. Stanley, column A. If you know correct, your own, I go enter you where. Column A, row 4. Column A, row 4. Who else is there? Good news. Column A, row 6. Column A, row 6. Jephthah, Ahola man. I've not typed your name, so I'm going to type your name. Ahola. Sorry if I'm not pronouncing your name well. Ahola man. Tell me what row and what column is your name. Column A, row 5. Your name is not typed already. Now where are you saying? Okay, that's good news. Good news, column A, row 6. Good news, how many answers are you giving me? Column A, row 6, column A, row 5, column A, row. You want chop out the Excel sheet. Your name is only in one place. So which answer are you going with? Column A, row 6. Is it column A or row 6 or column A, row 5? Which of them are you going with? My name is Rosis. Okay. Good news. I'm just seeing it clear now, sir. Column A, row 5. Good news, column A, row 5. Okay. Okay, Grace. Okay. Okay. So Julie says that her answer is in column A, row 2. And we said that we have columns. Columns are arranged vertically, horizontally. So it's been arranged horizontally and vertically. So columns are horizontal and rows are vertical. So Juliet says column A, row 5. So we are going to find out. This is column A. All of this is column A that I highlighted. And this is row 1 and row 2. So Juliet is correct. Charles says row 3, column A. So this is column A, and this is row 1, 2, 3. Charles is correct. Anybody that is not correct will give the person assignment. Stanley. Stanley says column A, row 4. So this is column A, 1, 2, 3, 4. Row 4. Stanley is correct. Okay. Sunday, column A, row 1, column 5. Right? Sunday says row 1, column 5. So Sunday, you turned it upside down. So what you are calling column is a row. What you are calling row is a column. So it isn't correct. So it should be column, right? It should be row 5, column A. So, right? And then the last person here, Ahola man, right? He said row 7, column A. That's very correct. Oh, thank you. It shows that you guys are following. Well done. Well done. So we have them. So again, this is how to reference. Like I said, give instance. Okay. So this is how to reference cells. If I tell you that, okay, so you see that with this simple exercise that we have done now, right? For example, we shall have done we have done the table here. Did you notice that this has become a table, right? What is our row 7, column A? Row 7, column A. So did you notice that this has become a table? This is now a table that we are going to work with. This has become a structured data. You see, like play now, we have come up with a structured data. And this is good for data analytics, right? This is now, is now beginning to make sense. You see that somehow the data is now arranged in columns and rows and is well arranged. It's not disorganized. Do you understand? So we just type in your names, type in these informations. We have succeeded in coming up with a structured data that we are going to work with. And this is how Excel arranges data in rows and columns. If it's making sense, give me a thumbs up. I mean, I just want to make sure that everybody, if you understand what I'm saying now, do a thumbs up. So with just what we did now, if you look at it, you see that it was looking like a wilderness, but we are beginning to come up with something. Good news is not correct. Good news is not correct. Good news says column A, row 5 is correct. Good news is correct. Okay. So you see that we are getting somewhere. Do you understand? So let's say that In another row now, let's say Juliet is now selling, you know, akara, let's say Charles is selling beans, Stanley is selling kerosene. Who else? Sunday, is selling rice. Good news is selling uh, uh, phones, right? And who else is there? You know, uh, Ahola man is selling cup, right? We're coming up with something. So you see that we are beginning to have data. So me now, Juliet, how much are you selling your akara? Let's say that you're selling your akara for 500. Charles, how much are you selling your beans per cup? So let's say you're selling your beans per cup 20 naira. No, not 20 naira. Country too hard. 1,000, right? Let's say that kerosene is 25. How much is one cup of rice? Okay. Julius says it's 500. Okay. How much is one cup of rice Sunday? Because you look like person who like rice. So one cup of rice, let's say that one cup of rice is 3,000, right? Phone. Phone. How much is phone? Infinix or iPhone. Okay, let's say 200,000 for one phone. And then for cup, how many cup? How many cup are we going to? Cup is like 400. So let's say 400, right? Great. What is another thing that we want to do? For example, now that we have all of this now, another thing that we want to know is this akara now. How many akara? You bought each akara is 500. How many akara did you fry that day? So, Julius, how many akara did you fry that day? How many akara do you use to fry? Since Madam Tinubu said we should sell akara and you started selling, how many have you fried? Ah, person say you like beans well well. Charles Berry, I know you now. No be you, no be you. I know your history. you know. So let's say that akara is how many? Let's say 50 akara. 50 akara. Juliet is selling 50 akara. She's frying 50 per day. Okay, 100. She says 100. Beautiful. Everybody tell me, don't wait for me to ask. Beans. How many bags of beans? Charles. This one where you like beans that I go, they buy them in bags, not in cups. Okay, but because we are looking at cups, let's say that you are buying how many cups? Like 200 cups. You know, 200 cups. Who wrote kerosene? Comfort, Carlo. Kerosene, I wrote. Comfort, no be you get kerosene now. Now you dey sell kerosene. Which one you can't give me kerosene price? It's Stanley that is selling kerosene. Stanley is not even here. His Stanley is still here. So, beans. How many cups of beans are we looking at? Let's say that we're looking at 2,000 cups of beans, right? 2,000 cups of beans. Kerosene is 2,500. Okay, kerosene is 2,500. Let's say that we are buying 100 liters, right? Sunday, uh, rice, rice. How many cups of rice? Cups of rice, 100 cups. Phone, how many phones? Let's say 10 phones. And how many cups are we going to buy? Let's say 30 cups. I'm getting, so you see, with this little exercise, another thing I'm going to do, and I'm going to show you guys. So you see that we have arranged this data in rows and in columns, but we don't have any header. We don't know which is which. So if I put every time I put for you, for those of you using Excel, Of course, I'll get to that lesson, but I just want to show you. I'm not getting to insert and all of that. But okay, it's making sense. Rice 100 cups, rice 100 cups, rice 100 cups. Where is rice? Rice 100 cups. Okay, powerful. I sabi when I finish. I know people wey sabi chop well well. So if I'm putting, I know what I'm putting. Charles 16. What is Charles saying? 16. Charles 16. You cannot be eating 16 cup of beans now. Why are you giving me 16? I put 2,000 cup of beans. You will be say they chop 20 cups in one session. Cup 300. Okay, I agree. 300 cups. Okay. Okay. So you notice that we don't know if I look at this data now, for example, guys, listen to me. If I look at this data, for example, I don't know which is which. I cannot tell, So the next thing I want to do is to put an header up here. So if I put, you notice that every time I put my cursor up here, right, I can highlight the whole column. And the same thing with the rows. If I take my cursor to the end of the cell, I can, I can highlight it one after the other. And what that means is that because I have highlighted it, it means that I'm actually currently in control of that whole region. Do you get? So because I'm in control of that region, I can do it. I can afford to expand it. I can afford to take it back. I can decide to insert a row, my cursor, and what I want to do. The command that I want it to affect the entire sheet, the entire row, that particular row. I want to make use of it. Do you get? So I want to insert one more row up since our data has covered to the upside. And this row one now, I want it to shift down so that this one that is in row 6 will shift down to row 7. Do you understand? Because we don't have space up here. What I'm going to do is to put my cursor where I have row 1. Row 1, I will highlight it. How did I do that? If you put your cursor by the side and you touch one, for those that are using laptop, if your cursor touches that one, you see that the cursor has turned to an arrow sign pointing to the right side. Do you get? So if I put my cursor there, you see that I highlighted that whole row. What I'm going to do is that if you're using a mouse or you're using a laptop, right click on it, right? If I right click on it, I'll go down to where I have insert and I'll click insert. If I click insert, I'm going to add one more row up. Do you understand? We have added one more row up. So that will give us the leverage. You realize that good news, your this thing have changed now. Everybody, Aola man, you are now, row 7, row 7, column A, not row 6 again, because I started one more row up. So this is going to be my header for all of this. We are getting somewhere. So what I'm just going to quickly do is that here, so this is my name column. This is my name cell. Here now, where we have those your answers, I will say, answers. That's how I want to name it. Or is that correct? If you think that there's something else I can name it, go ahead and put it on the comment section. This correct and incorrect, I'll call it status. Right? It depends on what you want, right? So, this is what I can remember. This sales now, akara beans and all of that. How do we call it? Maybe I can call it items. Am I correct? For those of you who are business people, So, what this one now that we now have the amount here, I'll call it unit price. Am I right? Do I have accountants here? Unit price. This is the unit price for each item. And then this is the last one here is this is the quantity. The last one here is now the quantity. The quantity. I want you to watch how I am actually playing with these cells and all of that. We are getting somewhere. I'm taking you gradually. All this one, and you are just flexing, calling beans and yam and all of that. I'll soon get to where the whole chat will be quiet. That time now, everybody will pay attention, right? I know when I get to the formula pace, all everybody typing on this comment section and they will forget themselves, and you just have to listen. But follow me, we are going somewhere. You see that somehow we have now come up with data now. Have you not seen that this thing now? This place that was looking like a desert is beginning to take a shape. Did you notice that? is beginning to take shape. I'm sure you're beginning to like what you are seeing here, right? We have a table here of data, and we have just named it. So, for a data analyst now, if I look at this table now, I know I have headers, but what are you now going to use to differentiate between the header and these other cells that you have here? Do you understand? You have to be able to differentiate. So if I look at it at a glance, I should be able to know that, okay, this is the header, and these are the informations that's for each of the headers. And how I'm going to differentiate that information is that I'm going to color the header. Do you get? So if I put my cursor here, so if I click on column A, row 1, this first cell here, remember, is called column A, row 1. If I click on it, and you click on it and hold it and drag, if you get what I'm just doing now, tell me. If you don't get it, I'll say it again. I'm dragging it to cover just this place. I don't have to now, the other one now. If I put my cursor here, I'm going to highlight the whole cell and it's going to cover everywhere. I don't want to color everything here. I just want to color from column A to column F, column A row 1 to column F row 1. Do you understand? So I'm going to have to only highlight this one. How am I highlighting? You right? You highlight by clicking, let's say as I click on the first cell now, right? Click it, left click it, and hold it and drag it. Do you understand that? For those who are using laptop, are you with me? Are you getting at what I'm doing? So hold it and drag it to the end. Am I communicating? People of God. Okay, students. I don't forget to know the church I did. Great. Ehen. So you hold it and drag it, and I'm going to color it. So how do I color it? Somebody tell me, where am I going to color it? And I don't want Charles to answer, not Charles, right? Somebody else, not Jefta. Yeah, not Jefta, not Charles. But how do we color it? Tell me. I know I have not taught it, but somebody has. I just want it to be, more interactive. Stanley, tell me, how are we going to color it? So now that we have highlighted it, the first thing to do is to highlight it. So how are we going to color it? We are going to come now to we are about to use our tools. Remember, I give an example of a mechanic workshop. A car comes into your mechanic workshop. Meanwhile, if you have not subscribed or liked this page, you are in error. So do it now. Make I no use, you cannot call it this thing. We'll take you to that place where Showore is. So remember I said that this whole up here is our tools. This is what we are using to fix our vehicles. So consider this as a mechanic workshop, right? That has all the tools. You have the spanner, you have all of that. So when a vehicle comes in to fix tires, you just get your spanners, you get everything, and then you get to work. Consider it as this, right? So now that we have, great, well done, Stanley. So now that we have this data now, this is like a vehicle. This data now, right, is in the workshop. This is a mechanic workshop now. We want to work on this data because this data now is not telling us anything. If you present this thing now to me now, right? Let's say if I'm your boss, I'm a manager, and we are not done. Who is there? I know we have, this is just small data. I'm going to pull out a data that is larger so that you can really understand what it is, right? So, and this, so this one now is like a vehicle that was taken to your mechanic workshop. And this is just data now. We have it like this structured. Very good. Meanwhile, I'm going to give you guys an assignment for an unstructured data. You're going to structure it the way I did it, right? I'll send you something that is not structured. You structure it like this and do everything that I did in this class and send it to the email. So you need to pay attention, right? So I have this data like this. is this data now is telling me work on me. And if I'm going to work on this data, I need to be able to understand where my tools are. Where are your tools? In the toolbar. This is called the toolbar. Look at all these things now. This is what you need to format this data, right? We are going to use all of these to do the formatting. We're going to play with them one after the other, right? So the first thing I want to do is to color this data because I need to be able to differentiate what is the header and what is the actual data so that I'm not confusing everything, right? At first glance, I just know that, okay, this is what it is. So where am I going to color it? I'm going to come here where you have home. Remember that you have different tabs here. You have inserts, you have row, you have layout, you have formulas, you have all of that. Where are we going to look for how to color this thing? We are going to go to home. This home tab now, if you look at this whole ribbon here like this, you see that it contains everything for only formatting text, right? Basically, mostly for text, right? So you see that everything here, right, can be used to format this table. So if I look at this, if I put my cursor there, for example, this one now, I want to bold it. Look at where you have this control B. So every time you are lost in Excel and you're looking for a particular function to use, always remember this. Carry your cursor, just play with the functions. Put your cursor there, and a note will come out. Look at this one now. I put my cursor on that B, a note came out. It said, make your text bold. Have you seen? So I'm going to click it. Did you notice that the text is now bold? It's bold. We are beginning to see some level of structure now, right? I'll highlight it again. Here now, it say italicize your text, right? It means that you want to make this text to be slanty. So if I click on it, for example, you see that the text is now slanty, but I don't want it to be slanty. I want it to remain standing because it's the header row, right? So here now is like, okay, this one, if you put it again, if you put your cursor here now, a text said underline your text. You want a line underneath it. So if I click it, you see that there's another line underneath the text. We don't want that. Do you get? So another thing that we want to do here now is a table. We are going to work with this. So, but first, let's put the coloring. Because I want to color my header, I'm going to come to where we have fill color. Fill color. You say color the background of the cells to make them stand out. Color the background of the cells to make them stand out. So I want to color the background, not the text as it were. If I click on it, you see different colors here. And I'm going to select any of these colors. So for example, I'm going to work with a yellow color, right? I love yellow anyway. So you see, we are beginning to have a structure in this data now, right? Another thing that I want to do is that because we have many cells here, and we cannot necessarily find out the demarcation for where our table should stop, for example, right? I want to put the table, I want to put it down in a table and lock it up. So it's actually in cells, but I want to make it a proper so that if somebody looks at it, it can know that okay, this is a table on its own. Do you get? So to do that, I'm going to click on column A. Please, are you guys following me? I just want to be, and are you not just that you're following me? Are you getting what I'm doing? Just give me a thumbs up if you're getting what I'm doing. You know, give me a thumbs up if you're getting what I'm doing. Okay, yeah, okay. So I want to highlight the whole table, and how I'm going to do that is that I'm always going to. I'll be done. So I'm always going to use. So you see column A, row one. So you see if I put my cursor on column A, row one, right? I'll click on it and drag the whole table. So I'm going to drag it again so that you get me. So if I click on column A, remember I told you guys, if you put it up here, you're going to have to highlight everything, but I don't want to highlight everything. I want to highlight just where our table is. And if I put my cursor on column A, row one, I'm going to click it and drag it down, right? And then take it to the left. Take it slow just where we have our data. If I'm able to do that, you see this place now where you have all borders. You see that it's already showing you that this is a border. If I click on the drop down, you click on the drop down and you see everything here, for example. So what I want to do is, first of all, I want to color the square, I want to make it bolder so that I can differentiate it from other cells, right? And I'm going to use this one that is very thick by the side. So if I click on it now and I take out one, you notice that it's bolder than every other cell here, right? And to even border further make it bolder, for example, I'll come to, of course, I'll speak to that anyways, but I can actually make it even bolder than what it is now. Do you get? Great. Is it making sense now? Are you seeing that the data is now looking like a proper table, right? So somehow we have succeeded in building a data structure in Excel. This is how an Excel, where this is 9:36, so we should be rounding up this class as soon as possible. So you need to pay attention. I will rush a little bit, but if you have questions, make sure that you're asking as I'm talking, right? So I started by saying that we have text, we have numbers, we have dates, we have, so that's the next thing that we have not considered. So in this our data now, what are the deals that we made sales, for example, right? So we have name, Juliet. Okay, we have the names of the different people that are selling the different things. I mean, these are the answers that we've got, the feedbacks and all of that. So here now, Juliet is selling akara, this one is selling beans, right? We have the unit price for how much we are selling each of the items, and we now have the quantity per item. The next thing that we want to also look at is the dates, right? Now that we have, we did not finish filling our information and we don't rush, go put this thing, put them for table. But again, because the dates is not going to come to the right hand side, I used to prefer the dates coming, if possible, the first column, right? So because we have already filled column A and I want the dates to come first before the name, I'm going to put my cursor on column A and highlight it and do the same thing I did that time. Right click on my mouse and click insert. So I can both insert on columns and on rows. So if I do that, right, I have this space to myself. I'm going to put dates there, right? And of course, I'm going to manually fill it for the purpose of this lesson. If not, when we get to formulas, I'll show you how to use formulas to formulate data and all of that. But for now, we have to learn the basics. So today's date is 30/06/2026, right? So I'll copy it and I'll paste it. Like I said, I'll just rush through the model in the next 30 minutes so that we can, we'll come back to this table again, right? I'll just copy it and drag it down anyways. So we have the dates also. So we have a complete table right now here. And I'll color it again, right? I'll color it and I would, great. I'll do the same thing we did. Okay, great. So remember, I said that in Excel, you can either use numbers, we have numbers here, right? You can either use text, we have text here. I'm just trying to prove the point to you. We can have dates, we have dates here. Another thing that we don't have is time, but we can actually insert the time the sales was made and all of that, right? These are, we can also have currency, in terms of, is it dollar, is it naira, and all of that. I'll show you guys, but that is basically in one of these rows here. So if I click on this general here, you see that we have numbers, we have currency, we have all of that. It's not important for now. So we have successfully set up a data structure, as it were, right? Another thing that we want to do is that, of course, we have percentages and all of that. I don't want to get into percentages because I don't want to do anything about formula today at all, right? So we are done with setting up a table. These are the basics, as it were. We also spoke about cell references, for example, and I'm going to ask a quick question before I talk about the remaining two, and we can call it a day. You will go to the fill button and click on it. Yeah. The question I want to ask is, for example, we have gotten all of that. That's fine. I am going to bold in here where I have, so look at my, so we are done with this table. We'll come back to this table. I'll create another sheet, right? So that we have another, So I'll come to the middle of this sheet, for example, and I'm going to color it yellow. And I need somebody to tell me this place where I colored yellow, what is it? How do you reference it? Right? I'm going to name it. I'm going to name it data. So if I ask you where is data on this Excel sheet, what are you going to tell me? I think that the first answer will get something. Let me think. Let me think of the thing. But while I'm thinking of the thing, fastest finger. When I need to take first for that class. Who can reference this cell? Tell me where data is on this sheet now, right now. Column 9, column C, row 9. Charles, are you answering my question? Because that's incorrect for me. What cell is it? What cell is it? Column A, row 9. Row 9, column K. Is not more clear. Are you lost? Or is it my sheet? What do you mean by that? Column K, row 9. All of you are correct. Thank you. Okay. So, Ahola man, what do you mean by it's not clear? I made a mistake in the first one. Okay, column K, row 8. Somebody says row 8. Okay. So in terms of references, because I was going to speak to references, that's why I came here. I told you guys that rows and columns can be adjusted. And you guys need to pay attention to this one. It's fine, I've gotten the feedbacks. Pay attention. A row can be adjusted, a column can be adjusted when you have data, for example. Do you understand? So I'm going to do that where we have our initial data here, for example. And row references. I'm speaking to references. So for those who are taking notes, right? I'm speaking to cell references. So when you're referencing cells, for example, if I have data on a particular cell, right? And let's say I have this 400 here, right? Okay, let me go to a new sheet. Actually, I think that's better for me. So if I have this set of data now that we have established a lot, okay, I'm sure that everybody knows how to now impute data and make it a structured data in Excel. So now that we have that, so let's say that I have 500, right, on this cell, right? And I want to drag this 500 down. So if I drag this 500 like this now, okay, I'm not going to take that example. Row references works better with formulas, and I'm struggling not to go to formulas today. So that, and next week Saturday, on Saturday, by the Saturday class, we'll come back to row references. I'm going to leave it because I don't want to do anything that has to do with formula today. Because in row references, is where we log cells, right? You can log the cell, you can lock a cell. That is where Kuje prison and all of that comes in. Afokan and all of that. You can lock a cell so that it does not move. Do you get? You lock it up. Maybe you have data on a particular cell and you don't want it to be altered regardless of whatever anything is doing. Because sometimes somebody can just walk into your sheets and do one thing, or sometimes you can paste something and it can affect, and this issue of adding rows and columns. You can eventually add a row to something. For example, if I do a VLOOKUP now, and then I now eventually add a row, maybe where you are referencing that your formula to. We'll get to formulas so you guys will understand this better, right? Maybe when you are referencing that your formula to, somebody has gone to go and shift something. Maybe somebody went to go and do inserts and inserted a cell. Because of that, right? Because of that, you will notice that your formula will not be correct again. And when it's like that, you're going to be doing a whole lot of blunder, right? A whole is going to be blunder, as it were. You're going to be having a lot of blunders in your. So, row referencing is very critical in data analytics because it will help you to lock up cells so that no matter what is happening in your data. So, because the way that we do it is that, I explained how to open different sheets in Excel, right? So, the way that it will happen, right, is that if you have data in one sheet and then you have a reference data in another sheet, maybe you're using that data to reference a particular summary sheet. We'll get to that, right? And if somebody comes to your raw data and does any form of changes there, it's going to affect your summary sheets if you have not locked the rows and the columns. So you need to be able to lock the rows and the columns so that your summary sheets is not necessarily affected. Do you get? So we'll come back to cell referencing on Saturday, and it's a very interesting topic. When we get to it, everybody is going to, another thing that we will look at. We are looking at, we'll just look at formatting, and we'll call it a day. And I'll just take if there are any questions and all of that, and But the Saturday session is going to be practical. Saturday session is going to be row referencing. We look at VLOOKUP, we look at if functions, we look at all of those formulas because this table that we have created here now, what to continue this table now, we need formulas because we have to. I want to now teach you how to do percentage and all of that, how to use sum ifs and all of that, VLOOKUP, XLOOKUP to further format this table, right? So is this table now that we are going to be using until we finish this class? We are just going to keep populating this table until we make a very large data out of it, right? But meanwhile, I'll send out an assignment for this today on, in terms of what we have done. So just as I'm sure that everybody's is with me. So the next thing I'm going to look at is formatting, how to format your data. Data formatting is a very critical part of data analytics, and it's just what we have done here. It's not so much of a problem. So this thing that we have done here is called data formatting. The process of putting bold colors, differentiating the colors, how do I call it, putting tables, turning it to italics and all of that is data formatting. So for example, now I don't like the way that this data is, right? So like I said, this home page now, this whole place now is your tool. You can use it to format this data anyhow you want it to look like. Do you understand? So for example, all of this data is centered. I don't want it centered. If I highlight the whole cells, I can come to this place. You see this place where you have all of these alignments. All of these lines are called alignments. I can decide to put it to the left. I want my data to be to the left. I want my data to be in the middle. I want it to come to the right hand side. I want it to go up a little. I want it to shift down. No, depending on what you want, you can format it here. All of this is called data formatting, right? I can decide to say, okay, the text are black. I want to make them red. I want all my text to be red. I can do that, right? And it's here. You see the color here. So this one is for the background. This one is for the text in itself. Do you get? I can decide to say, okay, the text are not big enough. I want to make it big. I'll click here. I'll bold reduce it, right? I can decide to say, okay, I don't want to use that one. I want to now use this one. I want to make it 24. It's in 24. I want to reduce it to 11. I can do that. I don't like the way they write up. I want a better write up. So I can come here, right, and change the fonts. And let's say I want to use Algeria. Somebody, but again, you need to be able to use a font that is readable, that people can relate to, people can use, and all of that. So all of this is just a way of formatting, right? Formatting the data that you have and all. And also, we have others here. We have others. So for example, now this one that I have as numbers, I don't have. So for example, if you look at this 2,500, it's just saying 2,500, but there's no comma. Somebody cannot easily differentiate. This one now, this whole paint now that you're seeing here is for the numbers. So I can come here now. If I click on this comma sign, you see that it's now showing. If I look at this in a glance, I can know that this is 25,000. I was thinking that I was thinking that this is 2,500, but it's now clearer. It's just a way of making the data even more clearer and all of that. And I can take out the points. You notice that this is 500.00. I can take it out by just clicking here, adding the zeros or removing the zeros and all of that, right? So here is an advanced formatting session. For example, I can come to where I have conditional formatting. This is a condition. From here now, we have started entering into formula and all of that, because I can come here and say that if I put on the first one now, all of this is useful. But if I take the first one now, for example, and say, okay, if this is greater than 500, you know, show me a green color. You see, everything that is greater than 500 is showing green. If this becomes 300, it becomes red. Have you seen? Everything here becomes so. I don't want to get into that. I'm struggling not to do anything formula and anything complicated. I just want to do the basics for today. And then, from Saturday, we are going to go hot into it. We are going to be doing a lot of formulas. I know by that time I'm going to be having a lot of questions and all of that. So get ready. Today is just to give us the basics, how to open Excel, so that by Saturday, when I say open another sheet, reference your formula from this sheet to this other sheet, you understand all of those terminologies. What is a sheet? What is a cell? If I say put your formula on cell row 5, column B, you are not going to be confused. Do you understand? So if you know these basics and I start talking about the formulas, it will even make more sense, because everything about Excel is formula, right? Another thing is, of course, the copy and paste, right? You need to know how to, again, if I have data here, for example, and I want to, you can actually copy data from somewhere. So I can copy this data now and come down here and paste it. All you have to do is to hold your control. So if you're not going to do your control button, just highlight anything you want to move. That's the last thing I want to say. If you want to move data in Excel, right, is either you cut or you copy. There are two things to it. Do you understand? So is that you cut it or you copy it. So if I want to say, okay, this cup, I don't like it. I don't like where this cup is. This cup is in column E, row 7. And I don't want to see it there again. I want to move it to column F, you know, column F, row 11, right? So I want to move it there. I will take it, I will just click on the cup, you know, right click on my whatever. You see copy here. If I click it and I come here and I click right click again, I'll paste it. I'll paste the cup there. But you see that in this case, it's duplicated, right? But instead of just copying and pasting, I want to remove it completely from here. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to click on that cup again and right click. Am I fast? I'm sure you guys are understanding me. I'm going to click on the cup again and right click. Sorry, I'm just trying to beat time. This is 9:53. We need to round up. I need to let you go. I need to keep, you know, as we advance, it becomes tougher. So bear with me. I see a lot of people, Mr. Chibuike, I see some people here that are already, that have already passed this level. So bear with us. So let me put everybody on speed so that we can all move, right? So where I have cup now, if I'm going to move it, I will cut it. I'll not. So if I come here and now paste it, you see that I have moved. The cup is now not here. That is where cell referencing comes in. What if I already had formula here that was referencing this cup, and now I move this cup from here and I put it here? What is now going to happen to my formula? It's going to be scattered. And if you're not a detailed person that is now going to check, maybe you're going to probably present something that is erroneous to management, right? So all of these simple things now, if I remove my core from here and put it here, it means that my formula is going to be affected if I have formula here. But how am I going to lock it up so that even if I move it from here, my formula will still be referencing it? That's what is called cell referencing. I mean, I'm going to look at that on Saturday, anyways. So that is that. There's not so much for the basic again, this is really, really what it is. Excel is not difficult. You have seen how we moved from opening Excel to opening different sheets and to imputing data, and now we have come up with a beautiful table. And from this table now, I am going to give an assignment and I'm going to send it to the group. I don't know how. Okay, I'm going to send it to the group. And when you're done with your assignments, you send it to the email. Of course, then we'll talk about that. So again, that is it. That is it. I don't know if you still have questions or any feedbacks and all of that. This will be all for the Excel. In the next 4 minutes, we are going to open the Google Drive together, everybody. So give me a thumbs up if you are with me, and let's, just so that you know, I know that everybody is carried along. So let's. Okay, I understand you are not fast. Is what time are we having the second session on Saturday? It's same time. So I'm actually looking at on Saturday morning if it's possible, right? Or I would have preferred morning, but it's still evening anyways. But I would have preferred morning so that we take our time and everybody's brain is still refreshed. It's not when you come back in the evening. Some people have gone for choir practice and they don't sing their voice come out. And we are now trying to say, do column S, row 4. Person will first look yourself, say, what are you even saying? You know. So that is that for Excel. We're just going to rush into the Google Drive. So if you have your laptop and all of that, click on your Google Chrome. If you're using Google Chrome, for those that are using Google Chrome, click on your Google Chrome and uh, click on your Google Chrome. Go to your email. Are you guys with me? Please confirm that you're with me and you're doing this with me. Go to your email. Go to your email. So I have my email here. Somebody just sent in an email. Yusuf. Okay. Well done, Yusuf. You already did yours. Isaiah. Isaiah, well done. So are you on your email? If you're on your email, just do a thumbs up and all of that. I know some people have already done it. So on my email, where I have my email, some people don't know how to open Chrome. So I'll go back to my page. You see where I have my page here like this. I'm going to go to Chrome. You know, that time I used to be afraid of laptop. When you touch one thing and it disappears, you start crying. So on this tab down here, if you put your cursor here, you see that you have Chrome. This is called Chrome, right? If you or let me use Edge for me. So any browser you're using. So if I open Edge, for example, right, it opens this tab. What I want to do is to open my email because of some having a busy day in the morning. Okay, we'll do it later. We'll do it in the evening. The evening is just perfect. Please, sir, you can redrop the mail for the sake of. Okay, okay. I will send the email again. I will even send the email on the WhatsApp group. Don't worry. If I send it here to disappear. Okay. So I just opened my email now. Okay, sorry. So this is my email. How to access your Google Drive from your email, right? Is that I'm going to come to this icon. You see this icon where I have this dotted icon by my name here. If I click on it, you see all of these tabs. Look for where they call what is called Drive. You see Drive up here. You see this one where my cursor is roaming. It's called Drive. So if I click on it, it's going to open. A drive is where all your workbook, your Google Sheets, your pictures, everything about your emails, they are stored on your drive. It's like a memory drive for everything you do on the Google space. It's only for Google. So anything you take to your email is saved on your Google Drive. All the Google Sheets that you open, all the Google workbook that you open, all of them are stored on your Google Drive. So you can easily access it from your Google Drive. Do you understand that? For those who don't understand what is Google Drive. But like I was telling you guys, Google Drive is the brother of Excel. Do you understand? Aki and Popo. The other one is Gen Z, and this other one is third generation. Do you get? The other one is the generation of the fathers, and this other one is Gen Z generation. The Gen Z generation is Google Drive. The other one is Abaco, black and white. That is Excel, right? So think of Excel as the offline, not different. Everything I've explained in you will move you do you understand, you maybe some futures are just and the fact that is most is beautiful, in terms of automations and all of that and reporting. I prefer Google Sheets, right? So you can use Google Power BI, you can use it, we'll get to there, you will understand all of that. So here now I've opened my drive and I'm going to look for here on this my drive. Now I want to create a Google Drive. If you're using a laptop and you're following me, just follow, right? So here you see where I have new. You see new on my Google Sheets. We're already 1 minute into our time. We have to round up. So if I click on new, right, it will show this page and you see Google Sheets here. Follow it and click on blank spreadsheets. If I click on blank spreadsheets, it's going to open on a new tab. This is what is called Google Sheet. You see that Google Sheet still has rows and columns. There's nothing different. It has rows and columns, and it has this mechanic workshop tools here. All the spanner, and all the every robot, how do they call those mechanic thing? You know, it has everything, and it has the Kuje cell, Kuje prison, everything is still here. The same way we saw in Excel, but it's just that this one is online, right? So if you have this, what you're going to do right now is that you're going to click, you see where you have untitled spreadsheets. Go there and call it data analytics cohort 1, and then put your name at the end. Do you understand that? Data analysis cohort 1, put your name, your full name at the end. So that as you are sending it to me, I'm also saving it on a folder on my Google Drive, so that when I open the folder, I can write a code that will help me take all your information. And I'll show you how I'm doing that. For example, all the assignment and everything that you guys are going to be doing on the Google Drive, I'm not going to be opening your Google Drive one after the other. I'm going to use a code to take all the information from all the drives and put it on a central drive where I can be looking at it. It's not like I'll be so if you give me access to it, I can be watching what you are doing from, and that's part of what you're going to learn anyways on this course. We are in for something really, really, So this is Google Drive. Change the name. When you do that, come to where you have the share button here on top here. You have a share button on top here. Click on the share button, right? Then put how do I call it? Yes, save. Yeah. On here where you have the just come and put my email there. Let's say brilliant heart and what of that, right? So, like for example, this is brilliant hearts consult at gmail.com, right? And click enter. If I do that and I click send, it's automatically going to add me into the drive. Click anyways. It's going to automatically add me into the drive. And the next thing I want to do is that you still click on it, right? Come here. You see copy down here. Click on copy. It is this one now that you now carry it and go to your email and send me an email, right? Paste it here on your email, put the company email here and send the email to me. I'll receive it in good health. So I will send the email to the group, and I'll send an assignment also. When you're done with the assignment, what you would do, and I'll show you guys. Let's say you are done with an assignment here, just like what we said. Copy it, just click on it and highlight it. Eh? You see the way I highlighted this table? That's how you highlight the assignment when you are done. Right click, copy it, go to that Google Sheets that you created, reference it on the same cell. You started copying it on row 1, right? Column A. Put your column, your cursor on that cell, row 1, column A, right click and paste it. Is it clear? So when you finish your assignment, this is how you're going to paste it. Do you get? Akina Popo. So how about those with phones, sir? Ah, the Lord is helping you people. So for those that have phones, just follow, get the knowledge, right? Just get the knowledge. And I was talking to somebody this afternoon. I said it is easier now that you are following. It's easier. It will be easier for you when you now have a laptop and you want to backtest it. It will be easier for you to do it, right? That's why you just have to follow now. Follow now, so that when you now have a laptop, it is easier for you. It's not stressful for you. Do you understand? If you don't follow now, when you now have a laptop, it will be it will be like you're watching a YouTube video. You know, YouTube videos are not usually clear. You go watch and tire, you go feel watch like 100 videos and you not still get what you're looking for. Because the thing about YouTube videos is that they are usually edited. You know, for me, even my YouTube videos, you can't find any some if you're not a professional, you will not understand what I do there, because sometimes we just usually cut out so that we can get a good content to put out there. And that is the same with all YouTube content. You can't get a full, like, as you're looking at it here, you understand it better than YouTube content. So at the end of the day, because you are now following with your phone, when you now have a laptop, it will be easier for you to, now that you have the knowledge. Of course, the one of the best things that can happen to all of us is that that WhatsApp group now is now the community for us. That WhatsApp group, we are planning to, I mean, in the next 2 months, it's going to be like more than 10,000 people on that group. So we are going to have a large community of people on that WhatsApp group, and it's a privilege for some of us. When you have data issues, you can drop it there, and people can respond and all of that. Because in the long run, we're going to have a lot of professionals on that WhatsApp group. And even me, my DM is open, and also it's a large community, and you know, and we have come to help ourselves. A lot of things will be happening there, job postings and all of that is on the bigger picture. So I think that's for today, and I hope that I made justice to the fundamentals. 101, fundamental 101. So if you enjoyed the class, give me a thumbs up. I need to see your reaction. You know, give me a dancing emoji. A, you know, give me one love. This is 10 minutes after 8. In the next 2 minutes, we should close this session. Does anybody have any question or something? If you have a question, go ahead and ask me. Oh my God. If you have a question, go ahead and put it there. And if you don't have a question, you know, hmm, somebody is dancing. Big dance, 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 dance. Good news. Thank you, Julie. Thank you, Stanley. You know, thank you. My goal is for you to, again, right? And my DM is always open. If there's anything you don't understand, right? Reach out to me, and I can even, I can do a separate session. I can host a session for you and put you through again, right? At my spare time, right? Apart from this call. So my goal is that at least between now and Saturday, make sure that you have understood everything that we said there. If there's anything you don't understand, reach out to me. Reach out to me, right? I can go on a 30 minutes call and brief you through again. And in the course of doing your assignments, you are stuck somewhere, don't be scared. Reach out to me. The goal is for you to understand it. Understand this. Even after this call, tomorrow, there's something that you're struggling with, reach out to me. I will answer you, right? In these 2 weeks, my DM is open. I'm open to everybody. So, I'm all out these 2 weeks. But after these 2 weeks, don't come again, you know. But don't come in the night, oh, I'm a married man. So, yes, you can download. Okay, somebody is asking. So, we can download the Google Sheets app, right? Yeah, yeah, it can be downloaded. But I think those that have iPhone is giving them a lot of issues. Good job, sir. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chibike. And how can we link it to our spreadsheets? What do you mean by link it to our spreadsheets? What are you linking to your spreadsheets? Yes, you can download it. Thank you. Okay. Okay, I appreciate. Yeah, you can actually download it. What are you planning to link to your spreadsheets? Okay, it's 11 minutes after 10, and I'm just going to end this live session. Meanwhile, because we have just concluded this, I'm going to keep the WhatsApp platform open just so that if you have questions and all of that, you can go ahead and ask your questions. We can continue on the WhatsApp, but I need to end this live stream already. But like I said, if there are issues, reach out to me and we can sort it out. For now, if there are no more questions, thank you everyone. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Yeah, I'm coming. So thank you. Let's have a great night and let's continue on the WhatsApp platform.